and welcome to the SciFirst MovieTalk episode. Well, not 100% accurate this time around, as I always like to say, as this episode is actually a collaboration with another YouTube movie and TV series reviewer, AnkitaSays, and we will both be discussing the 2012 science fiction action movie Looper, as directed by Rian Johnson. So, the idea of this collaboration, following on from our last that we did, it'd been at least half a year ago now, was to find another science fiction movie, being a genre that we both love, for each other to review and discuss that the other hadn't yet seen before, offering a new perspective, if you like, on the movie. And therefore, hence Looper. It's a film that I had already seen, had the pleasure of watching indeed, and that Ankita was watching for the first time. So, the other movie was 2013's Snowpiercer, the episode for which you can catch on Ankita's channel, and was the movie chosen as that I hadn't seen before. So please do certainly catch that review if you can, and check out Ankita's channel in the process. I will be posting an intro to the review on my channel, so you'll be able to catch the link in there if you are interested, okay? So, we did opt again for a fairly simple format for our collab. For this review of Looper. So I will start, give my short synopsis, short, as I usually do, along with my thoughts and review of the movie, and then I will introduce Ankita, who will then present her review for you all. It has certainly been fantastic to work with Ankita again and putting this together, and I do hope it's something that you all enjoy. So, yes, Looper. Simply put, this is an absolutely fantastically superbly crafted movie. It really is. From the moment it starts, from those very first words explaining the basic premise, this film has you hooked. It's set in the year 2044. Time travel hasn't been invented yet, but will be in 30 years. Like, wow. I mean, if that doesn't have you drooling for more, you know? And that's not even everything that this movie actually has to offer. So, anywho, time travel is outlawed in the future, but due to the ever-tightening rules on disposal of bodies in the future, criminal organisations use the technology to send back those that they want executed and disposed, using loopers to do their bidding. So these loopers, so-called, because once their contract is terminated, so to speak, they have to kill their future selves back in the past, therefore closing the loop. No questions asked, hence their name. We meet one such looper, Joe, as played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who fails to kill his future self, as played by Bruce Willis, when he's actually called upon to do so, and then kind of starts an intriguing mission to kind of track down his older self whilst kind of evading his current employers. His future self has basically an ulterior motive and a mission all of his own in trying to restore his life in the future with the woman that he loves and who had once saved him from his own demise. To do this, he intends on killing a person known as the Windmaker, who, in the future, is taking control of the crime syndicates and closing all of the loops. Killing him in the past would mean that Joe was never targeted to be executed in the future. So, the only issue is that in the past, the Windmaker is a child. So, it does all sound very complicated. It really does. I understand that. But in actual fact, the way that this movie is actually presented is so exceedingly straightforward. The film has science fiction elements in it for sure, but it uses them to kind of facilitate a more involved story overall. Now, I'm not saying that the time travel elements are perfect. Very hard to get that right. Indeed, I am pretty sure that there are a few, more than a few paradoxes created, as a few elements are certainly overlooked. However, for a film that's essentially about time travel, it manages to keep things very simple and doesn't get overly complicated, Sure, it raises a few questions. It doesn't answer, doesn't even try, to be fair. But I think that's kind of all part of its simplicity. It's about its characters and its story, not time travel per se. Time travel is kind of merely a facilitation, if you like. The film has a very kind of broody, kind of very moody vibe to it as it's going through. Almost kind of film noir in style, I would say. With some excellently dark cinematography. It really does kind of play out a little bit like a cross between the 1995 movie 12 Monkeys, which also starred Bruce Willis, and the 1998 movie Sliding Doors. Well, you know, at least a very darker version of that movie, as we do kind of get to see both the path already travelled and that never taken via the two different perspectives, Joe's younger and older selves. The cast in this movie is absolutely on point. It is a rare example of when a series of big names can actually work together to really create something which is totally mesmerising, intriguing, and involved. In addition to Gordon-Levitt and Willis, the film also stars Emily Blunt, who gives a very gritty, no-nonsense performance as Sarah, and Pierce Gagnon as her son Sid, who is just simply extraordinary. Each character is expertly handled, and the relationship between the young and the old Joe is, of course, the centrepiece of the movie. And for the most part, the chemistry between Gordon-Levitt and Willis is such that it's certainly believable that these are the same person, just kind of separated by time and life. It's certainly an interesting take to see a person trying to hunt down and kill themselves. Imagine having that discussion with your past self and trying to convince them of a life they have yet to live. It must be shocking to kind of come face to face with yourself, let alone kill them. It is quite brutal and tragic at times, and it certainly makes its audience feel its pain, but also makes us kind of face some poignant questions on morality, examining a taboo not often explored. Seeing this story unfold from both sides, the present and the future, was also quite unique and definitely an interesting perspective. There is nothing in this film that isn't shown for no reason at all. Everything kind of comes full circle in a very intricate design, and indeed the concept of changing the past by in fact changing the future in relation to Joe's return and escape in the past is an interesting concept indeed. Overall, for me, this is a phenomenal science fiction movie that is subtle yet stylish in its execution. It poses some very dark questions against a taboo not often explored, becoming quite the emotional and involved story. The science fiction elements are edgy and woven into a very detailed, thought-provoking and very character-driven premise. It does indeed get very tense as we twist in time, if you like, or twist through time more than that, in order to understand the impact of the road never travelled. Coming round full circle with a poignant ending that will leave you speechless. We even get some pretty sweet Bruce Willis action, so certainly no complaints there. So, that is basically my thoughts and feelings on the film, Looper. So I would now like to introduce AnkitaSays as part of our collaboration to offer her take on the movie. And so yes, take it away, Ankita.
So this movie came to my watch list because of Lee, and honestly I love time loop movies. Recently I watched this movie on Amazon Prime called The Tiny Map of Pretty Little Things. Yeah, that's a big name. So it was a really sweet time loop story and I wanted to watch it. It's a really good movie. And I also have to watch Palm Springs, that is also on my list. So yeah, let's come back to Looper. So I went into this film because it was a time loop movie. It caught my attention right that the time loop movie, I gotta watch this. But this wasn't a very good one, to be honest. Of course, they had my favorite actors like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Emily Blunt is also a really amazing actor. But the movie's storyline, the plot, it was kind of a letdown for me, because I went with a lot of expectations that I'm going to see something exciting, but nothing really happens. The storyline was like pretty okay-ish. The ending shattered everything. This movie was a whole lot of chaos, and then it just ended. This is the kind of film which people like us are gonna watch this film just once and then they're gonna forget about it. That's the hard truth of this movie. Not to mention, this movie was 2 hours long, and I don't know why it was so long. It could have been a lot shorter. And yeah, there are so many good time loop movies. This is not one of the good time loop movies. Like, I have watched Deja Vu, which we had done in our last collab. That was a great time travel time loop movie, and so many other movies. Like the best example would be Edge of Tomorrow, which Emily Blunt was there in that film as well. So Edge of Tomorrow, Tiny Map of Pretty Little Things, Palm Springs, they are good ones, but not this. It takes way too much of your time, and you just forget this film the second the movie ends. So yes, that's what I think about Looper.
Thank you very much, Ankita, for that absolutely excellent review. It is always a pleasure to hear your thoughts on these movies, and it was definitely interesting to hear your take on Looper specifically. What an absolutely fantastic and mind-boggling film. I would also like to thank everybody for watching our reviews, and of course, if you haven't already, please do check out our reviews of Snowpiercer over on AnkitaSays. I'm going to leave a link below for the review on AnkitaSays if you're interested, and I definitely, certainly recommend that you do check it out. I will also ensure that a link to the review is also posted at the end of this video. But otherwise, yes, thank you very much for watching. I do hope that you do check out Ankita's channel. Absolutely, where you will find other brilliant reviews of other movies and TV series. I hope you've enjoyed this collaboration as much as we have enjoyed putting it together. But yes, I think we've reached the end. So that brings me to the end, and thank you very much for watching. I do hope you've all enjoyed it. If you have, please leave a like. Please do hit that subscribe button, not only on my channel, but also on Ankita's. And yes, thank you very much for watching. Do hope to see you again at SciFirst MovieTalk and AnkitaSays. But most of all, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.